We continue to listen akusala, sankhara, unwholesome, volitional activities. Unwholesome volitional activities are 14. Moha, ahirika, anuttapa, uddhacca. These four are unwholesome, universal mental factors. Akusala sankhara, sabba kusala sararana. Now today we go to another group, Lobha Ditthi Mana. You're very familiar with Lobha, greed. Lobha, the first unwholesome root, covers all degrees of selfish desire, longing, attachment, and clinging. Lobha, Tanna, Pema, Raga, Samudaya, many names of Lobha. Immediately after his enlightenment, Buddha uttered the words regarding Tanna Lobha. He uttered the words regarding Tanna, expressing that he has destroyed Tanna, craving, which is the builder of the house. So after enlightenment, there is no reward for Buddha. Those utterances are recorded in the Dhammapada. Some teachers said that Buddha did not utter these verses aloud, but some teachers said that he said them to himself in silence. Other people said that the Buddha did utter these words. When a person gets free from some bondage, or a prisoner gets free from prison, he will naturally be very happy. When he is happy, then he will say something about the bondage he had been in. In the same way, Lord Buddha, when he became the fully enlightened Buddha, got free from the bondage of existence. That means Buddha will not be reborn, although the present aggregates will remain until his Prinivana, until his death. So Buddha was so happy that he had got out of this bondage of dukkha, the bondage of aggregates, that he uttered these words out of joy, out of pity. He was unable to keep them inside, so he had to let them out. These verses are recorded in the Dhammapada. In some countries, Theravada countries, Members of the Sangha use these verses as a consecration of Buddha images. When members of the Sangha want to have a consecration ceremony in front of the Buddha images, they recite these verses along with other virtues of the Buddha. So we would like yogis to recite these verses. Can you open the retreat manual? Retreat manual book, page 111. Udanagata, joyful utterance. Can you follow me? Aneka jati samsaram samta vaisa anebisam kahakaranga vaisanto dukkha jati puna punam kahakaraka daitasi punageham nagahesi sabate bhasuka begam kahakutam visinkatam visinkaragatam jaitam Dhananam kayamejagam. Can we recite together? Aneka jati samsaram santa vaisa anebisam kakaranga vaisanto dukkha jati puna punam kahakaraka daitasi punageham nagahesi savate bhasuka begam kahakutam visinkatam visinkaragatam jaitam dhananam kayamejagam. Can you follow me in translation? Through the continuous cycles of births, I wandered not finding. Although having looked for the house builder, sorrowful is repeated births. O house builder, you are seen. You shall build no house again. All your rafters are broken. The rich poor is destroyed. The mind reached the unconditioned, achieve it the end of Tanna, achieve it the end of craving. So regarding Tanna, Buddha uttered these verse. That means through many births, in samsara wandered Buddha seeking but not finding the builder of the house. So who is the builder of the house? The builder of the house is Tanna. Tanna is likened to builder of the house. So Buddha compared his rebirth, his existences, and also his aggregates to a house. Then Bodhisattva was seeking the builder of the house, but he did not find the builder of the house, Tanna. He did not find Tanna for many, many lives. 4 incalculable and 100,000 world cycles. So many, many lives he have to find the builder of the house, Tanna. The builder of the house was what? That is Tanna. Bodhisattva was looking for this craving, looking for this Tanna for many, many lives. Since he could not find the builder of the house, Tanna, he had to be reborn again and again. So when he reborn again, what we come later, when he had to be reborn, he had to be aging, sickness, and death. So when he reborn again and again, he have to die again and again. So he said, Dukkha jati puna punan. Sorrowful is birth again and again. And Buddha said to Tanna, O builder of the house, O house builder, O Tanna, now you are seen. You are seen mean you are already removed. You are already eradicated by the power of Rata Mega Jnana. So Buddha said to Tanna, you shall build no house again. In the future, you will not build any house for me. All your reptiles are broken. What are the reptiles? The reptiles are the mental defilements, are the reptile of the house. And the rich pool of the house is shattered. All the other mental defilements along with you are destroyed. Rich pool means avijja, ignorance, not knowing the true nature, not knowing the Four Noble Truths, which is like the pinnacle of the rich pool. So that rich pool, avijja, is also shattered. That means that all mental defilements, including avijja and tanha, ignorance and craving, are shattered. Avijja and tanha, ignorance and craving, are broken. And Buddha declared, my mind has attained the unconditioned visankhara. Unconditioned means nirvana. My mind has gone to nirvana, or my mind is taken nirvana as object. Achieve is the end of craving. The end of craving, the end of tanha is achieved. The end of craving, the end of tanha has been achieved. So there will be no more craving for Buddha. If there are no more craving, if there's no more tanha, if there's no more lobha, there will be no more rebirths, there will be no more aging, there will be no more sickness, there will be no more death and dangers. So all the aging, sickness, death and dangers are no more for Buddha after removing the tanha. So regarding Dana, Buddha pointed out the cause of dukkha or the cause of suffering, the origin of suffering. So Buddha said, the cause of suffering is tanha, lobha, craving. So here craving means craving or attachment or greed, lust, every mental state that arises in combination with desire or want. So Buddha said that craving is the cause of suffering. Craving is the origin of dukkha, origin of suffering. And Buddha explained that Yayantana Pono Bhavika, that lobha, that craving, gives rise to fresh rebirth. Rebirth is life. Rebirth is the beginning of our life. So rebirth is life. Life is rebirth. So this rebirth life is dukkha. Here Buddha said that craving gives rise to fresh rebirth. It is the same as saying that craving, tanha, lobha, gives rise to dukkha. Tanha craving brings about dukkha. Also, Buddha said that this craving is bound up with nandi raga, pleasure and lust. Actually, pleasure and lust are themselves craving. So craving, lust, pleasure, attachment, greed, they mean the same thing. Also, Buddha said, craving finds fresh, ever finds fresh delight here and there. Here and there means craving finds ever fresh delight in this life and in that life or in lives. Now it is said that the first active thought moment in one life, in our life, is accompanied by Nandiraga, attachment to this life. Wherever we are reborn, even if we reborn in any realms, if the person is born in hell, the first active moment in that life is always bound up with attachment. So it takes delight in this, here and there. So there are three kinds of craving, three kinds of tanha mentioned in the Dhammacakka Sutta and also mentioned in other places. The origin of dukkha is craving. Here where the Buddha says craving gives rise to fresh rebirth and so on. That means the present rebirth is the result of our past craving. And then the present craving will be the cause for future rebirth. In that way, we should understand the second noble truth, the origin of suffering. Another way of understanding it understanding of dana is to consider situation in this life, and we can see that craving causes suffering. We often hear news about plane crash. Many people are killed in the crash. When we hear the news, how much dukkha do we suffer? How much dukkha? Maybe just a little bit after watching the news and the plane crash, we see it and we heard it and we may say, oh, these people are unfortunate. We say something like that. We don't feel so deeply. But if there was a friend of ours among those who perished, how about our suffering? Our suffering is greater. We suffer more. What if a relative of ours was in that crash, or very dear person was in the crash? We would suffer a lot. So our suffering actually is not caused by the death of a person. Our suffering is actually the attachment we put on that person. The more attachment we have for that person, the more dukkha we suffer. So more craving, more dukkha, less craving, less dukkha, no craving, no dukkha. So the real culprit here is attachment or craving for that person and not the death of that person, not the loss of that person. The same is true for things we put much value on. Sometimes the price of the things may not be great, but we put some sentimental value on that things. So we cherish that things. If that things is taken away from us, if that thing is stolen, or let us say if it gets broken, we suffer a lot because we have put so much attachment, so much sentimental value on the things. So our suffering is not caused actually by the loss of the things. Actually, it is caused by the degree of our attachment we put on that things. If we understand that way, we can understand that attachment causes suffering. The Buddha's explanation goes deeper than that. Actually, Buddha's explanation here is that craving gives rise to fresh rebirth. Now we are all attached to our lives. We don't want to die. We hold on to our lives until the last moment. So strong is that attachment to life that it is the potential, it is the energy to create another life. So even though we die here, the attachment we have created or brings about or gives rise to another birth in the future. So the future rebirth is actually the result of our attachment we have in this life. Actually, Buddhas and those who have the supernormal power of remembering past lives and also the supernormal power of seeing beings dying in one existence and being reborn in another, such person alone can see clearly. We also believe that craving gives rise to fresh rebirth because Buddha taught it. And also we can infer this from craving causing suffering in this life. If it can cause suffering in this life, it can also cause suffering in future lives because it has the power, it has the potential to create life in the future. So Buddha said that there are three kinds of craving. Some yogis may be familiar, Tritana, Kamatana, Bhavatana, and Vibhavatana. So Kamatana means craving for desirable objects. Now there are sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts which are desirable. Desire for these pleasurable object, desirable object, attachment to these desirable object is called kamatana. So it is craving for desirable objects. The second one is called bhavatana. Bhava means existence or becoming. Here, according to the commentaries, it means not just existence or becoming, but it is the wrong view that beings are permanent, or that there is a soul, or that soul is permanent. So bhava here means what is called the eternity view, sasata deity. That is taking things to be eternal, taking things to be permanent. It is one of the wrong views. Craving associated with this wrong view, sasata deity, eternity view is called bhavatana. So bhavatana does not mean craving for existence. Craving for existence can be included in the first one, kamatana. So that is because existence is also a desirable object. Bhavatana here means craving which is accompanied by eternity view, which is associated with eternity view. So you may have the views that things are permanent. You may have the view that things are eternal. Craving that is accompanied by that views that arises together with that view is called bhavatana. So it is not merely craving for existence, it is craving associated with the eternity view. So another tana is vibhavatana, another views. that takes it that beings die and there is no more of them in the future. They believe in this way. Beings die and then there is no more of them in the future. It is called the annihilation views, Ochedadeti. A being is annihilated at death and there is no more of him in the future. So craving associated with that wrong view, craving accompanied by that wrong views is called vibhavatana. So that kind of sadhana, if the person have and his attitude is it is only one life and we have to enjoy whatever we can. He tried to enjoy this only life, only this life. So sometimes beings may have eternity view or some others may have annihilation views. Craving accompanying those views are respectively Bhavatana and Vibhavatana. So Vibhavatana is craving associated with annihilation view. So some people, some teachers translated it as craving for self-annihilation. So this translation is very misleading. Some people may confuse Buddhism accepts suicide because craving for self-annihilation. Craving for self-annihilation is mentioned in the Sutta. So Vivadana is not craving for self-annihilation, but craving associated with these kinds of wrong views. So these are the three kinds of craving, three kinds of tanha described by the Buddha. In this exposition of the second noble truth, the origin of suffering, tanha lobha. Now a clever physician will not just stop at finding the disease. Clever physician will also find out what causes the disease. In the same way, Buddha first discovered that the worlds of sentient beings has the disease of suffering. He does not just stop there. Buddha also discovered the origin of that suffering, or what caused the suffering. So after knowing the disease and the cause of disease, the next question would be what? Can this disease be cured? In the same way, after understanding that there is dukkha, there is suffering, and there is the origin of dukkha, origin of suffering. So we want to know, after understanding the presence of dukkha, and there is absence of dukkha. We want to know whether the disease of dukkha can be cured. So Buddha is like skillful physician who diagnoses a patient and then finds a disease, and then also knows what causes the disease. Buddha diagnoses the living world. Then he came up with the diagnosis that living worlds or living beings have the disease of suffering. And this suffering is caused by craving, tanha, lobha. When the cause of disease is known, the patient will want to know whether the disease can be cured. Very fortunate. Fortunately, the disease can be cured. So in order to give consolation to beings who are wearied with suffering and the origin of suffering, Buddha said that there is cessation of suffering. There is a cure of this disease, the cessation of suffering, the absence of suffering is what to know as Nibbana. Nibbana is the cessation of suffering. So when Buddha explained the third noble truth, Buddha said, Nibbana is the complete fading away and cessation of this tanha, craving. It is strange here, Buddha was explaining the cessation of suffering, but the Buddha said the cessation of suffering is the complete. That means without remainder, complete fading away and cessation of this very craving, cessation of this tanha. That means this craving as the cause of suffering. So here Buddha equates cessation of suffering with the cessations of tanha, craving. That is because so long as craving, tanha is not destroyed, there can be no cessation of suffering. So when the cause is eradicated, then the effect will be eradicated. That is why Buddha said that the third noble truth, the cessation of suffering, is actually cessation of lobha, cessation of tanha. Once tanha, lobha, craving is destroyed, there will be no more rebirth for yogi. So that is because craving is the one that causes beings to be reborn again and again. So Buddha said that it is craving which gives rise to fresh rebirth. So long as there is tanha, lobha, so long as there is attachment, there will always be rebirth. When there is rebirth, there is aging, there is sickness, there is death, and there is to be associated with what you do not like. And there is to be separated from your loved one. Also, you do not get what you desire, and so on. So long as there is this craving, this tanha lobha creates ever fresh rebirth. So once tanha lobha is destroyed, it is like when oil in the lamp is exalted, there is no more flame. The Buddha describes cessation of suffering or cessations of suffering as cessations of tanha lobha. So Buddha here said that complete fading away and cessation. So craving can be abandoned momentarily or temporarily. Now in the practice in the retreat, you are removing craving, you are removing kilesa momentarily and temporarily. But momentary and temporary abandonment cannot give yogis complete freedom from rebirth or complete freedom from suffering. So here Buddha said, complete or remainderless fading away. So when yogi attains enlightenment, especially the fourth stage of enlightenment, yogi eradicates craving altogether. Once eradicated, that craving will never arise in yogi's mind. Yogi will never experience attachment or whatever any longer in your life. So when Dana Loba, which is the original dukkha, is destroyed, then suffering itself is said to be destroyed. So cessations of Dana Loba is what we call, what we all understand as Nibbana. And Buddhas continue. It is the forsaking, the abandonment of that Tanaloba and liberation and detachment from that Tanaloba. When yogi is said to have eradicated Loba, Tana, you are said to be free from craving. So you are said to be liberated from Tanaloba. Actually, you are not only liberated from craving, but you are liberated from the results of craving, which are rebirths in this samsara. So in one discourse, Buddha said, all the Four Noble Truths can be found in this fathom long body. So Four Noble Truths you can find in your body. Truth of suffering, truth of the original suffering, truth of the cessation of suffering, and truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Four Noble Truths in your body. So that means the cessation of Tanna, Lova can be seen in your own self. That is because Tanna is ours, our own property, and when Tanna is destroyed, when Tanna Lova is removed, that means you remove the craving which is in you. So Buddha said, or Buddha proclaimed that all Four Noble Truths can be found in this body. Actually, according to Abhidhamma, Nibbana is an external state. So that external state, people who gain enlightenment take as object. They realize Nibbana. So realizations of Nibbana is within beings, but Nibbana itself is actually outside. So Nibbana is just the cessation of suffering, cessation of all conditioned phenomena. When there is no more arising of conditioned phenomena, when there is no more rebirths, yogi is said to have achieved nibbana. So there are some people who think that nibbana is something like a realm's very beautiful place or an existence that you will reach after death or something like that. Nibbana is described as just the cessation of suffering. So the cessation of suffering, the extinction of suffering, the extinctions of mental defilements, the extinctions of five aggregates of clinging is called Nibbana. So if you learn Abhidhamma, you may know there are two kinds of Nibbana. Nibbana which is experienced while you are living, and then there is another Nibbana which becomes evident at the death of a Buddha or an Arahant. The first kind of Nibbana is actually cessations of Tanha Lobha. When yogi practice meditation, finally yogi reached the fourth stage of enlightenment and yogi realized Nibbana. And yogi eradicates all mental defilements, including Lobha Tanha. So the removal or the abandonment of mental defilements or cessation of these mental defilements is called Nibbana in this life. So this can be realized in this life. This can be realized by yogis who attain enlightenment in this life. So another kind of Nibbana is called Nibbana at the death of an Arahant. So that means Arahant who has eradicated all mental defilements still has his body, mind and body, because this mind and body are the results of his karma in the past. So these results remain with him. When Buddha or Arahant dies, these resultant aggregates disappear. So Buddha expounded in the Yadana Sutta, just as the flame goes out, these Arahants disappear. At the moment of death, the five aggregates that are called remaining sa upadisisa, because they are the ones remaining from past mental defilements also disappear. So that is called Nibbana at the death of Buddha and Arahant. So there are two kinds of Arahant. So it is more interesting, the first kind of Nibbana. So there is what will happen after the death of an Arahant or a Buddha. It is after death. So we can realize Nibbana in this life if we try, if we really have enough perfection or parami, if yogis really practice diligently, if yogi make effort to reach the stage, yogi can realize Nibbana in this life. So it is more interesting, the first Nirvana, uh, uh, in this life. So it is more attractive than the other Nirvana. The other Nirvana we don't know, because after this life, this Nirvana is freedom from mental defilements. You can see there is a good state if you really free from mental defilements. You have no mental defilements, you have no lobha, attachment, you have no dosa, anger, and you are not attached to anything. You do not get angry, although there is provocation. So life is ups and downs always, sometimes ups, sometimes downs. So you are not moved by the ups and downs of life, and you are enjoying nirvana. So that is a state yogis should all try to reach, if possible, in this very life. And if not, it may take 2 lives or 3 lives. So nirvana in this life is more attractive than what will happen after the death of an arahant. So towards this goal, the extensions of Lovadana to was this goal, the extensions of mental defilements, yogi should direct your effort in the practice. So this is the presence of Tanaloba and absence of Tanaloba. You can differentiate. If we have Tanaloba, we suffer, and if we eradicate Tanaloba, we free from suffering. So because of this, you are practicing 4 foundations of mindfulness continuously and precisely. So we have to stop our discourse for today. We will continue tomorrow by practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the 6 senses, by noting rising, falling, sitting, touching, seeing, hearing continuously and meticulously. May all yogis attain Nibbana in this life. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future. So